I was living in a institution where there were 800 young people. At age 14, I had a man come into my life. He was my social worker, Mr. Lockett, and I remember he says, I got to get you out of this institution. I got to get you into a better program so you can succeed. And he cared about me, and I trusted him. And that summer, I got into he was able to get me into a Catholic Charities program called Group Homes. All of us were from New York City, all came from troubled families. When they came with the idea of a Boy Scout troop, Troop 259, I was curious. During the periods of each year when I went to the camp, I got several merit badges, learned how to shoot a .22 rifle, learned how to do many things. But the biggest thing was the exposure to other kids on regular troops. Our troop was not a regular troop. We would arrive in 2 buses with over 60 kids and equipment, and they actually made a separate camping location for us. We did not eat in the main dining hall. We brought our own food. And it was an experience to get to know other scouts from different communities and to compete against them. It was a very great experience, and it opened my eyes that there was more to life than inside the city. I would say the scouting seed was planted, but it went dormant for many years. And it wasn't until 1992, I was 41 years old, when a neighbor of mine, who we go to Bible study, asked me if I'd be willing to donate an hour a week to Boy Scouts. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he says, well, I'd like you to be on the board. I didn't know at the moment that he was a treasurer of the council. And I said, sure, I could donate an hour a week to Boy Scouts. And I was glad I made that commitment. I did not have, both my mother and father were drug addicts. So the people who interceded on my behalf to give me guidance were people from the outside of me. That's the same thing we're trying to do with Boy Scouts. Our Scoutmasters, our assistant Scoutmasters, we're trying to get involved in a family and be that male that is gone. I've heard it said the biggest problem in the inner city is where are the fathers? Take care of because the family structures are dying. Where are the fathers? Where are the grandfathers, the great-grandfathers? What happened? This is the problem. And I got into it. They had group homes and group residences. I got into a group residence. We had 20 kids in a building. And you would go to local schools, public and private. Without all the details, I was fortunate enough to get into a private Catholic school called Mount St. Michael Academy. So yeah, Boy Scouts for me is very personal. I've been doing this, like I said, up to 2005, I was ended my career on the board as the president. Took 2 years off a sabbatical. I came back and I said, listen, send me someplace where there's no troop. And they said, Donovan Middle School. I went to Donovan Middle School. They gave me a classroom. The meeting was at 2:30, and we started with three young men. And I was by myself. And from there, we got up to a point where we were 27 to 30 kids in over 14 years. We've been through probably 4 cycles of people from 6th grade to 12th grade and graduating. Are there other groups in the inner city working? Of course there are. But when you think about the statistics, if you got a class of high school, the top 10, 15% and the bottom 10, 15% are taken care of. Unfortunately for the bottom, but that leaves 70% of them. What happens to that 70%? Who's helping them? I've watched young people from 6th grade to 9th grade totally change and watch their friends because of the influence what they're receiving, either not receiving at home or in the streets. I gave a lecture to a group of physicians and people in New Hartford, and many of them were immigrants, but they were professionals. And I asked them, I said, how many of you, and I said, I'm going to recite to you the Scout Oath and Scout Law. And I said, on my honor, the Scout Oath is on my honor. I would do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the Scout Law is a Scout is trustworthy and loyal and helpful and friendly and courteous and kind and cheerful and obedient, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And I said, how many of you, please raise your hands if you do not want your children to learn these type of characteristics and incorporate them into your own raising of your children. And of course, as a teacher, I held the pause for quite some time. And not one person in the audience raised their hand that they were against this. Unfortunately, the breakdown of the family is amazing. The family is under attack. Boy Scouts is under attack. You know, we're the messenger. Yet the messenger is being attacked. And yet, when you think about it, the very thing that we want to do is strengthen the family unit. We're being criticized, and we're being attacked. And I look into the city, in the urban areas, families are being destroyed. And if we can't find men and women who are willing to sacrifice of their time, it doesn't seem to be a problem with money. The money is not the issue. We want people who are willing to commit of their personal time to the lives of young men. What we need is men and women who are willing to give of their time and show that they are willing to care and give guidance to young people. That's really what the issue is. We need people to volunteer. We need people. Without individual adults, our society is going to crumble. We need people who are willing to proclaim that there's a better life. There's a better way to live. You don't have to agree with everybody, but we have to agree that the family unit is the foundation of our society. And we can't allow the family unit to crumble.